Good morning, everybody. I don't know if I'm audible on your side. Can you hear me?
Audible, Godi, we may proceed. I'm not sure if we are visible, but yeah, I'm sure the other guys are going to join us as we start with our program for today.
Okay.
Yeah, you are visible.
Camera is there. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello from Johannesburg. I'm based in Johannesburg. My name is Godishang Tswane, and I am the secretary for the chapter. On this session, we are also joined by Mr. Sean Courtney, who's also an executive from our chapter. We are also joined by Mr. Mondli Mue. He's also an executive from our chapter. And we have online Letitia Rousseau, who currently can't speak because she also had some dental work. And I think Mohau is going to join us again. But again, I'd like to thank all of you for making time today to brave the cold and come join us on this community network awareness session. And with that said, maybe we can do a round of quick introductions and then we'll leave it over to our program director Mr. Mondli Mue, to take us through the program. Thank you. So I don't know, online guys, Sean, can you give a quick intro, Mondli, quick intro, and then we'll go over to the people on site and do a round of introductions quickly.
Hi, as introduced, my name is Sean Courtney. I actually work at an internet service provider, and so I'll be speaking a little bit later on what policies and regulations are required. I'm involved in the internet society, helping to connect the unconnected. And that's the goal of community networks.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you so much. Morning, everyone. Nice to see you there at Mkhuze. Yes, Mondli Mungwe as executive at the Internet Society, also the program director of this session. We're looking forward to engaging with you and just understanding what connecting the unconnected is all about. So I'll be also closing off the program at the end. And yeah, Letitia.
Oh, no, she won't be able to speak because of her dental work and stuff. So we'll go over to the people on site to do a round of introduction, please.
Nomalunga, it's over to you.
Okay. Hi everyone. My name is Norma. KZN's. I call myself the ISOC ambassador. Yeah, I'm an ISOC member as well. We are at Mkhuze. We are running our workshop, and so excited to be here. Thank you for the workshop. And yes, I'll give it over to the candidates. Who's going first? Yeah, Mr. Introduce yourself, please.
My name is Letukolo. My son is Connecta.
And where you from?
Josini. I live at Josini.
He's from Josini. Second one. Can you see them?
Yes, we can see, Norma. We can see.
Okay.
Yeah, if you have it like that, we can see everybody.
Okay, cool.
My name is Tabi, so my surname is Charlie. I'm from Mkhuze. Nice to meet you.
Hi, I'm Nancy. My surname is Glazy from Josini.
Hello, okay, my name is Innocentia. My surname is Nieni. I'm from Mkhuze. Nice to meet you guys.
Are we audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay, next one.
Hi, I'm Nozipo.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Nozipo Zungu from Mkhuze. Halloween.
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 This is Sakile Egobese from Mkhuze.
Nice to
You
meet
can
you
go
guys.
ahead.
Hi, I'm Sneta Mamluli from Mkhuze. Nice to meet you.
All right.
Nice to meet
Nice
you
to
too.
meet you all.
Thank you so much. These are the candidates I have for now. I'm sure others are going to be here in a second. Thank you so much.
And I'd like to again thank all of you for making time, especially the people from Josini, because
Yes.
this is the community where we are targeting to start this pilot project for our community network as a chapter in partnership with Connecta. So I'm very glad to see the people of Josini there, and also the members that are representing Mkhuze, because Uput Oscar was like, hey, if we are doing Josini, we must do Mkhuze at the same time. So we'll
Yeah.
see how that works out. And I'm very, very excited to see you there, because everybody sitting in that room is going to be ambassadors of this project that we are doing. And you are our first point of contact with the community. So thank you very much again.
Yes.
So yeah, I'll leave it over to you, Mondli, to go over the program. I'll share the screen.
Okay. Thank you so much, Cody. All right. Welcome, Letitia. All right. Yeah. So good morning, Sanbonani, again. So I will be speaking in Zulu and English. So as you can see here, we've got an agenda of what we're going to be doing. Into sokhuluma ngazo namhlanje mayelana ne-community network awareness. Kuzoqala, I think umkhanya ukuthi abantu laba abasihostile lapho eMkhuze. And-ke usisi Nomalungelo lapho uyena ozobe sekhuluma about isiya-connecta le eyenza le project yokuconnecta ijozini and putting community Wi-Fi. Then go 10:10, I think, because we're running a bit behind, so because we're waiting for others as well to join. Then we'll have Mr. Khodishang Tswane to share what is, community networks and what are community networks and some of the things that are happening around Africa and the world as well. And also, he's going to come back and share with us how to build your own network as well. And then uzobe kuba khona Sean Courtney, as you saw as well, he introduced himself as an internet service provider worker as well. So he's going to tell us what imgunya or izinto ezigunyazayo to actually, put this network into communities and how we can go about doing that so that izoba into egunyazekile again. Then mese siba ne session where we're going to show you some videos about people who have benefited from connecting the unconnected. And then we're going to close the session. We're not going to spend a lot of time, but we're going to close the sessions by questions and answer session as well. And then we have our lunch that will be served at the end of the day. So thank you again. Thank you again for just being here, and we hope the sessions or workshops will be beneficial to all of you, because you are the first ambassadors as well. As you saw, there's a continuation that we are doing with you since you came for the remote hub. So now we're showing you some of the important things that the chapter is doing, going forward. So with that said, I'm not sure if the Oscar is there or someone that is representing Umkhanyakude to actually do the welcome.
Thank you so much, Mondli. The manager, or rather the representative from Kanyagote, they have meetings, back-to-back meetings today. Most probably I'm going to ask them to come within our program. So I believe I can go first and speak about SIA Connecta. As I've introduced myself previously, I'm Norma, and I am the chairperson of SIA Connecta, an NPO that aims, or rather, quickly, can I just sit and you can sit around the table?
All right.
Thank you.
It's live. It's live. We know
That
when
aims.
it's
Molweni, Sambonani, welcome.
Grab a bottle of water and you can sit. That actually aims to empower communities, connect communities with connectivity, and we look into working with communities through digital skills, upskilling our learners or communities, and also because we know Mkhuze is a remote area, it's actually rural, so they don't really have connectivity. So we believe that as a connector, we are going to be the first to actually connect the unconnected with these kind of programs, and also just to bring awareness within communities about ISOC, about the internet, about what actually happens when you use your Wi-Fi, or building the internet as well as defending it.
Okay.
You're muted there, Noma.
Yeah, sorry about that. I was trying to just properly set up. There's no space now. So, but yes, in a nutshell, SIA Connecta is bridging the gap between communities in bringing connection into communities and bringing awareness, as I said, and also defending the network, and also just to give a broad explanation of digital literacy. Yes, I'm sure my colleagues in the session will add where I have left out things. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Noma, for that introduction. And yeah, SIA Connecta as an entity that is aiming to make sure that they bridge the gap through, projects such as Connecting and Connected, working with Internet Society South African chapter. Very amazing collaboration as well. Just you can see that even through the session, the importance of connecting people is uttermost, and needed. So how is so good that we are able to have such sessions so that our communities can learn how the internet plays a role that is very, very important for us to do businesses, to educate ourselves, to do sessions like this, to actually also start careers. And yeah, without internet, it's quite crucial, for us to go forward as a country or as an individual as well. So thank you so much, Mkhuze, for just welcoming us for that for this particular awareness as well workshop. Now I'll give it to Korishang to come and share with us what are community networks, and what can we know about, and what can we benefit from them as well, and what is the aim of having such project, if you could put it like that as well. All right, Korishang.
Okay, thank you very much, Mondli. And again, I'd like to welcome each and every one of you that is on site. You guys are the internet champions that KZN needs, and initiatives like this would not be possible without you. So I'm gonna quickly play a video from Internet Society Global that shows the impact and work that was done in Dallas, America, and it has some clips of our new CEO, Sally, in it. And then after that, I'm gonna do a little quick background of who Internet Society South Africa chapter is, and then I'll get into what are community networks and building community networks. So with that, Let me quickly share the screen and play the video. You'll please let me know when you can hear the audio on the other side too.
That's a good question. A world without internet.
Ooh, that would be tough.
No one will be seeing this interview, first of all.
Kind of boring, I guess.
I'd fish a lot. I would not be here fixing cars, and I would be out on the boat fishing and living the dream.
I can't even begin to imagine a day, minutes, an hour.
Even when I go somewhere and the Wi-Fi is down, I have issues and problems.
I would be way more exhausted. At least now I can use the internet to order things. So that's very lazy. I'm sorry.
I don't know how people survive without access to internet.
I just imagine my life being a lot more difficult.
I don't have access to anything at home or at school either.
I am on chapter 5 of my dissertation. Would be chaotic.
And so when I think about not having that, I think about a lot of people suffering.
Horrible. That should be horrible.
Today, imagining a world without the internet is almost impossible. The internet became a tool not just for fun activities, but really an essential tool for how we live our lives. But the hard reality is that many communities were not connected to the internet, and they were left behind during the pandemic. We believe that the internet should be for everyone.
So before all this happened, I never had a computer at home, so I couldn't really get my assignments done at all.
And every day I get up and work alongside a community of volunteers and experts who are making a difference and ensuring that somebody new is coming online.
Whenever I'm behind, I can learn and then catch up using the computer that I had got.
Call myself the Facebook queen.
You can't expect that students are going to compete at the same level if all of our textbooks are digital and some students have reliable internet access at home and some of them do not.
1/3 of the world's population remains unconnected. The Internet Society's work aims to change this by promoting connectivity solutions that focus on communities.
We'll be able to build a self-supporting tower.
It's basically a Wi-Fi network. It's no different than what you have at home. It's just larger equipment.
Area, so they're taking their laptops home and their modem home, and they're able to get free internet access to their house.
The Truest Expanding Potential in Communities grant program supported a range of projects, including connecting schools in low-income areas and rural areas, providing affordable, reliable broadband access in more urban settings, and ensuring that older adults and low-income individuals have the resources they need to thrive online.
So it's not all about playing games and watching Netflix. Without internet, you can't learn and you can't work.
When people are globally connected, they can create ideas together, they can build communities, and we are stronger when this technology empowers all of us.
We're not only saving money on our internet service now, but it's better.
My business actually grows from the use of the internet.
I like to either watch YouTube or play games on there, car games and bike games.
We have to do more to continue to make sure that access is for everybody and not just the affluent.
We believe that when communities are equipped with the resources and expertise, they can build, maintain, sustain, and ultimately defend the internet in their local communities. Visit our website where you can opt into news, updates, and information. And of course, your donation to the Internet Society will support a wide range of initiatives and ensure that the internet remains a force for good.
Yeah, so in that video, they were showing communities that are based in America, but in South Africa, we've got a couple of communities in the Eastern Cape, Northern Cape, Gauteng, and soon KZN that is also going to be joining this initiative. So just a brief background on Internet Society South Africa chapter. We are a membership association where everybody is free to join. There's no membership fees around it. And we advocate for connecting the unconnected. We also get involved when it comes down to internet governance, issues of connectivity, cybersecurity, and creating enabling environments for digital economic inclusivity. So our goal is to bridge the digital divide by using the internet and making sure that all our communities are connected to the internet, because for us, we understand that the internet represents our last chance to also participate in this digital economy. And we feel that each and every community needs to be connected to the internet so that young people can get opportunities not only to learn, but to also start thriving online business ventures. And, with e-commerce growing and digital content production growing, we believe that no one must be left behind. So as Internet Society South Africa chapter, we also invite each and every one of you to sign up to the chapter and to get to learn more about it. So with that said, I'll go into my presentation for today, which is two presentations, but it's not going to be deaf by PowerPoint. And during my presentation, I will give chances and opportunities for us to engage or to take some few questions around some of these slides that I prepared. So let me just share that. Please let me know if you can see the slides on that side. Norma, can you see the slides?
Cody. Yes, Cody, we can.
Okay, brilliant. Everywhere else online, I assume you can also see the slides. So
Yes,
my name is
perfect.
Godishang Tshwane.
Proceed, Cody. Sorry about that.
Okay, no problem. So my name is Godishang Tshwane. I'm the Secretary for Internet Society South Africa chapter. And today we're going to be talking about what are community networks. So essentially, what we're looking at is that the internet is a basic need. Like we saw in the video that I just played, it's very hard to live day to day without internet connectivity because it limits you from not only connecting and talking to people, but it also limits you from economic opportunities. It limits you from government services. When you're not connected to the internet, you're also limited from being able to participate as a business person to get into tenders, to get into work, or to interact with clients and so forth. Not only that, we need the internet because when you look at rural areas and rural economies, the internet is needed by farmers, it's needed by educators, it's needed by the ECD environment people. It's also needed by the schools there, so that to further enhance the work that we do and to how can I put it, to be able to maximize the resources that we have within South Africa. But now we're zeroing in and focusing on KZN and what KZN has to offer. You know what I mean? So internet for us is basically a basic need. How we connect about it, I have some stats there on the side that shows to say these are from ICASA and the Connect SA thing. This slide will be shared with you, so no need to worry about taking notes or whatever. You'll have this information. But they're saying that on a national level, 78.9% of universal connectivity has been achieved in South Africa. That means to say that close to 20%, 22% is left out. But that 22% represents a large number of people. It represents a large number of communities. Like they also mentioned in the video that we watched during COVID-19, there was a lot of online economic growth that was seen by people that were connected to the internet, but that had meaningful connectivity. I'm not just talking about people that buy data and, they use it sporadically, and maybe a WhatsApp message here, a small video there. I'm talking about people that have 24-hour access to high broadband speed internet that can enjoy rich content, whether they are streaming video or doing video conferencing or learning online. These are the type of opportunities that were there during COVID-19. But now we find that in rural areas, people never saw this growth. So a need for connectivity is very, very dire there. So when we talk about the digital divide in South Africa, it has an economic impact on us as communities that are marginalized and left behind. And it also stems from systematic histories of our country that I don't want to really dive into. But now, as the generation now and the people of KZN, I feel that it is time for us to band together and work towards bridging this digital divide. And thanks to the folks at Mkhuze Development Agency and the airport and everyone sitting there in that room, I think this is very, very possible for us to do it within our lifetime to make sure that KZN is one of the leading digital infrastructure and digital services provinces that we have in the country. We make it our own Silicon Valley of South Africa, because as it stands, when you talk about technology and innovation, you always talk about the Western Cape and Gauteng. But now we need to also drive to put KZN on the map. Now, also, when you talk about digital divide and people being left behind, it normally occurs within townships and rural areas, because service providers like your internet service providers, your large ones, your MTNs, your Vodacoms, your Cell Cs, your Telcoms, they won't come into a community where there's 20 or 50 people living there and put up a tower or a mast for their connectivity services. They will always target dense environments like cities and towns and townships where there's a dense population. You know what I mean? So that always kind of works negatively for township and rural communities where there are fewer people, but they still need connectivity. They still need access to these services. As you know, that the government of KZN and the Premier are driving to put a lot of government services online. What happens to rural areas within KZN that don't have that connectivity? That means they cannot interact and benefit from government services like people that do have connectivity. So I think with that said, it goes into the point of why community networks matter. They matter because they can change our lives. They matter because they are integral to being part of this economic transformation that we are seeing coming to South Africa. So when you have to look at a community network and define the definition of a community network, it's locally built and it's locally owned and managed. That's why I was so happy to see so many people around the room, because we need each and every one of you. It's not going to be possible for us to import the skill sets to KZN. We need the people of KZN to acquire these skill sets and build their own network with the support of the chapter, with the support of other organizations that we work with. We need to do what we call skills transfer, meaningful skills transfer, to make sure to say that the people of KZN are empowered to build these community networks to get their own people online. If you're not going to do it for yourself, nobody's going to do it. So this is where I have to stress to say that we need champions like you in the room to take up the cause and take up the mantle and work together with the local organizations there to build these community networks out. So also, to go about this, you can go about it as a nonprofit and people-centered infrastructure. You could go about it as a for-profit vehicle, but then that puts you in the realm of competing with well-established ISPs. Our suggestion as a chapter would be to say, start it as a nonprofit and grow it from there. If you see to say that there are people that require more bandwidth and higher speeds, maybe you can explore having a commercial side to it. But a non-profit will open up opportunities for the people of KZN to be able to access resources and help that they need to just get the basic network up. So when we build community networks, you need to build them on the needs of your community. What do you need the most? Do you need schools connected to the internet first? Do you need your hospitals and clinics connected to the internet first? Or do you need the resources in libraries and local TVET colleges and universities? So a community assessment needs to take place within Mkhuze, within Jozini, to say, where is this resource needed the most? Because you are delegating expensive equipment and resources and time. So you need to get it to where it's needed the most. So on the side there's a diagram of Bosco, the Bosco network, the Gulu Hub network in Uganda. They are also beneficiaries from Internet Society Foundation that made their own community network. This is an example of a mesh network that operates from a radio tower, and they use site locations and wireless links for doing the mesh network. So it's point to multi-point networks. So for those not understanding this terminology, it's fine, because we do also offer resources for learning and skilling yourselves in these things, because no one just wakes up a network engineer. We all have to start somewhere and learn from somewhere. So again, why do these community networks matter? We need to reduce the cost of connectivity, guys. It's very expensive to connect to the internet these days. So the community networks have the opportunity to lower the cost to access the internet. The lowest fiber connection in South Africa, I think, is around about, I stand to be corrected, but I think it's 249 rands. And there are some companies that are trying to do 5 rand a day connectivity to internet. You know what I mean? But in our communities, we really need to try to drive that price even lower, because we are living in a community where recently in the news, we saw that unemployment spiked up by a percentage or 2. You know what I mean? The political parties are crying out to the president to do something about this unemployment. So if there's high unemployment, people will not generally have money for splurging, so to say, on internet connectivity. They will put the money where it's needed the most, whether it's household goods, whether it's education, training, or just sustaining their households. So they're not going to pour a lot of money into internet. But then if we have community networks within KZN that can help lower these prices, it might not get to 0 rands, but we can try our best to get it there somehow for some locations. But then the goal is to lower the cost for access. Now, again, in this section, it talks about building local skills. I'm based in Gauteng. Sean is based in the Western Cape. We've got members like Kopano from Bakwena Network, who's based more in Joburg and Northwest. We need to have localized skills in KZN, people that we can call upon to say, hey, they have a problem in Jozini at this tower, go fix it. We cannot import people from other provinces to come and work there, because it's going to be too costly on running the network. So the most critical thing is to have local people with local skills, so that can help lower the running of the networks, because now you're not relying on other people coming outside of KZN to work with you guys. So why it also matters, we talked about also encouraging digital inclusion. I'm not going to stress much on that, but I think the point that matters the most is it supports education, jobs, and small businesses and safety. As we all know, if you want to get a good education, you got to travel far from home and whatnot. But if we have community networks in the community, in Jozini, Mkhuze, and all these communities around the greater KZN, you can find resources and education things, whether it's UNISA, whether it's CPUT, online learning platforms, and so forth, where you can actually do accredited NQF level standard stuff, where you can learn from home. You know what I mean? And you can create other jobs and opportunities. Like even in this picture, I just did an illustration of like 10 jobs that you can do from your mobile phone. You know what I mean? So okay, let me just do this for a second. So you can then see to say that by having internet and just a mobile device, it also opens you up to economic opportunities and businesses. Your business can actually scale. Whether you are into agriculture, you are into tourism, you are into entertainment, your business can always scale from a mobile phone. There are examples of people that just with a mobile phone and internet access, they were able to go and start their businesses. So in this slide, I wanted us to go over the key components of a community network. What is needed to have one? You need access points. Those are these radios over here. You know what I mean? When they talk about a mesh, they simply mean to say the signal is going from house to house to house, and there's a radius to say that when this access point is down, the network is still up because it can find another way to get to the base station or to get backhaul connectivity. So talking about backhaul, we can either use fiber, we can use mobile/LET or satellite. For those of you in the know, you saw the article about the minister for the Department of Communications and Digital Technologies advocating that we must maybe forego the BEE policies so that Starlink can come in. Because Starlink is positioning itself as a internet, as an ISP that can provide high-speed internet connectivity to people in rural areas. So our backhaul there at Jozini is going to be air fiber and a combination of fiber. But for that, I do have the Jozini network plan that I'm going to show you guys also. So being someone who lives in South Africa, we know the issue around power and Eskom and power not being very, very reliable. So to make sure that the network that we set up is good, we need to look into solar and battery and generator solutions to pair that up with that network so that if Eskom is down, the network doesn't go down. It can use solar energy, it can use batteries, and it can also use a generator that runs on diesel or something. So in community networks, I think a lot of times, people overlook this thing of local server, offline content. Offline content is very important because it doesn't use bandwidth, paid bandwidth for people to access it. You can put things like Khan Academy offline. You can put things, offline content that can help people learn how to do certain things, certain skills, without having to put a strain on the backhaul and the costing for data. So offline content is something we need to take advantage of as communities in South Africa to say, let's use this once the networks are up, have a server that has offline content. Whether the offline content is to promote local musicians, local movies, the offline content is there to save engagements with councillors and the mayors and so forth. The point is, the resources already there. You can run local servers from a laptop or or build up a server or an old PC with the right software, and it can serve your network. So another key component to this is to have community leadership and governance, meaning to say when you're going to put this community network up, the leaders of your communities must also back it. They must also understand what's happening in it. And you yourselves that are building the network up, you have to have good governance so that the project doesn't fall apart at the seams or pull apart at the seams. And then again, the issue of training and maintenance for youth and local champions. The people sitting in that room right now in Mkhuze. Now I'm talking towards you guys to say that the training and the maintenance is very critical. You can spend money on buying the equipment, getting the backhaul, getting the solar, getting the offline content, but if there's no people that are going to maintain it, that are going to look after these systems. It's either going to get stolen or it's just going to be a white elephant that nobody uses. So if we are going to fight for these resources to come into KZN, we need to make sure that the local youth champions are there to be trained and maintain the system. So like I mentioned before when I started, there are a couple of examples of community networks. We've got Zenzeleni Networks that's operating out in the Eastern Cape. We've got Rezo Matika that's operating in rural Mexico. We've got the Bosco Uganda network that I showed you a diagram of. And in that room, we've got SIA Connecta, which is a community network that is backed by Internet Society South Africa chapter. And we hope to see them getting their pilot project off the ground very, very soon in Jozini. And also you can see they're also backed by Bakwena Telecoms. So Bakwena Telecoms is helping with network design, network infrastructure, but they'll be more focused on training the young people of KZN so that they can work with them side by side until they're at a point where they can manage the network themselves. So with all this said, I know you're sitting there, you're probably wondering, what are the challenges? What are the opportunities? The challenges as it stands is the issue of licensing. Well, for SIA Connecta, they've overcome this by saying, look, let's partner with Bakwena since they have an ISP license. And there's an issue of sustainability, what it takes to run the network and the costs behind it. So these are the challenges that you'll always face when you're thinking of starting a community network. And then after that, if you can overcome all these challenges, you'll be an organization that is creating opportunities for jobs, learning, safety, and empowerment of our communities. I can't stress it even more how important the internet is, because I feel to say that this is our last chance as marginalized communities to play a role in the digital economy. You guys are young, you're sitting there in the room, you know to say how much influencers make, how much these digital services make. You know, companies like Uber and Bolt and all these other companies, they could be developed inside of KZN, where we could have our own versions of these ride-sharing apps, our own versions of these shopping apps like ShopRite, 60 seconds, Pick and Pay, whatever. But then without the internet connectivity, we can't start to...
Cody?
Hello?
Okay. We thought it's a problem from our side.
Oh, am I audible or is it breaking? Norma?
You're audible now. You're audible now.
Okay,
Good.
okay.
Okay, sure.
Which slide should I go back to? Where did the problem start?
No, we're good. We
Okay, okay. Please let me know
good.
if there's a slide you want me to repeat. It's fine. I'm on the seventh one.
You got
Okay, I'm just gonna turn off the video so in an attempt to save some bandwidth. No, so Norma, you're fine. I can carry on, right? Mondli, are you hearing me clearly on your side?
Yeah, I'm good on my side, and I think maybe it's a small connectivity challenge that they have. But I think because we can still see them, they can. I think maybe they can hear you a bit. But I'll speak to
Okay.
Norman on the side, but you can continue.
Okay, thank you. So like again, issues like doing this presentation and having network challenges, I think this is why we need a community network projects running inside of Mkhuze so that we can improve the quality of access and internet there. Before I start on building your own community networks, can I just open up the floor for just 5 minutes so maybe we can get some questions from the audience there at Mkhuze?
For now, no. For now?
Okay.
Okay, Cody.
We've,
Anyone
we've
with a
got,
question?
we've got online Pilani.
Thank you very much, Chair. Greetings to the community that side, Mkhuze, and greetings to everyone. My name is Pilan Tlenyama. I think I'm joining the meeting from online. So far, maybe one must first welcome the presentation, but also I just have one question. I do not know if maybe Chair, I captured it very correct, but I think it's on your first slide when you spoke of the access points. And I think the first point was the Wi-Fi, or you showed some devices that act as an access, as access points. So I'm from Tuba. I doubt we have that kind of infrastructure as the access point. I do not know if ever on your plan you including the entire community of Mkhanyakude, or for now the target is just Josine and Mkhuze. So I just want to seek clarity there as far as the access points are concerned across the district. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that question. Where did it go? Pilani, thank you very much for that. So as a chapter, our goal is to connect all of the rural areas in KZN, but we had to have a starting point. And this starting point was determined by the cost for backhaul. So like as I'm gonna go into the second part of the presentation, it will also cover issues of growth and sustainability and whatnot for the networks. But it also depends on the people within the communities and the champions and the drive that they put in. Because when you are building these community networks, you need to go where you're needed. Like on the other slide, I mentioned about allocating resources properly. So if your community doesn't have the access points and you have a challenge of internet connectivity, I must stress that please leave your details in the chat so that us also as a chapter, we can reach out to you, because essentially the goal is to connect rural and township areas in KZN that need the connectivity. Where there's affordable internet and large forms of connectivity there already, we might not prioritize these places, but we need to prioritize that communities that are truly unconnected and don't have the resources to access the internet. I hope I'm answering your question, but then if you do leave your details in the chat, maybe we can also pick this up offline with the technical team to figure out where your community lies.
Thank you, Bob. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions from the audience at Mkhuze?
One question, Cody. Please say your name. Okay, you can go ahead.
Can you
Yeah, speak Zulu, it's fine.
ngizwe ngathi kukhulunywa ukuthi kuzokhandwa ama-connective bani digital, like ama-cyber ubani. So uma ukuthi iyaqala lo program, mhlawumbe ingaqala emva kwesikhathi esingakanani?
Okay, so I think kuleyo point leyo i-process ukuthi silayite ama-access point nani seyiqalile, because isiya-connecta i-negotiator nabantu abazobanikeza i-backhaul. So as soon as baqeda ngalama-negotiation lawo e-backhaul, bavumelana ngokuthi isiya-connecta izobhadala malini. Ilapho-ke kuzofuneka futhi sibuyele eJozini and be in Jozini and have le meeting lesiyenza manje futhi eJozini to say abantu beJozini, where do you want these resources allocated? And then after that ke izoba i-opportunity yethu yokuthi sikhethe ukuthi basifaka kuphi. So in terms of isikhathi, so ukuthi zizofakwa nini. Khona manje siku May, let's just say siku June. Sibheke ukuthi at least by August sebe sebafakile ama access point okuqala sewangenile by August. So bekuyi-targeted ukuthi by August ama access points sewangenile, i-backhaul seyikhona, and then umphakathi uyakwazi ukusebenzisa leyo internet. I think we've got Refilo also online. Refilo, you can go ahead.
Hi, good morning. Thank you for a very informative session. From my side, I just want to understand, is the Premier or is the government working with us in this project to be able to deploy the infrastructure, considering the cost implications as a community? How are we going to be able to sustain the project in terms of financial capacity? Thank you.
Okay, so thank you very much. And for those of you who don't know, Ms. Refile Sekgopa is an ISP based out here in Johannesburg and a member of our chapter. So yes, we do have support from local organizations, the Mkhuze Development Agency. We are still in talks with the provincial government, and we are still in talks with Moses Kotane Research Institute. So these are the two organizations we're in talk with. But then the good news for the community of Jozini is that Connecta is also part of a group that's working with the the Soweto Business Access and the Spaza Shop initiatives. So with that, the goal was to use the Spaza shops as access points for connectivity for the townships. So there are many ways we are trying to offset the costs of bringing the network into Jozini, Mkhuze, and the greater communities of KZN. I see I think we'll take two more hands so that I can go into the next presentation and not kill the time for the next speaker. So I think we'll take the hand from Mkhuze and then Pilani again. Thank you.
Thanks, Godi. For me, it's just an emphasis that because we are working closely with Mkhanyaguda district, I think they will be the ones to give us a go ahead because we wouldn't want to proceed and yet they have not given us the proper channels and the proper authorities who to start to before we can even roll out. But we have everything in place. It's just that we need proper channels and guidelines so that we can be able to actually proceed. So it all lies with most probably our leaders, our stakeholders, and the community itself to actually motivate or rather have it in them to say no, we need this. But it's just an emphasis that yeah, we are good to go, but we can wait from the UDA, which is Mkhanyaguda district agency, to just give us a go ahead. Otherwise, all is well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Norma. Pilani, my last hand.
Yes. No, thank you very much for the opportunity again. I want to also say that in Mkhanyaguda or in Jozini to be specific, we've got an apex body of all youth formations, which is the South African Youth Council. So
Pilani, you're not audible. Do you mind repeating yourself one more time?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, we can.
I was just saying that on your stakeholder team, we want to also add the South African Youth Council, which is an apex body for all the youth formations. And remember this connection, the South African Youth Council have a direct interest because most of young people in Mkhanyaguda are the ones who paramountly need to be connected. So we want to add the South African Youth Council as part of your stakeholders so that it can be easy for information sharing and also from mobilizing government to assist with different aspects of the implementation of the project. So as part, like earlier, I will add the details of the regional chairperson and the regional secretary of the South African Youth Council so that we make the ease of communication. Thanks.
Thank you, Pilar. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. This is exactly what community networks is about. It's not only about the technology, it's also about us as people coming together to help our own communities and to create economic opportunities for us in rural areas and in our townships, so that we don't have to go far out to get opportunities, that people can access them at home. So I'm very, very glad to see everybody that's online and we share the same spirit. So with that, let me quickly carry on with my few slides. I'm not going to take too long so that I can give the other speakers also some time to get into their slides. Can you see the presentation on your side, Norma, Mondli, and the people online?
Yes, I can see that.
Okay, thank you.
For yeah, for any other questions, we'll have them by the end as well.
All right, thank you. So in this part, we're just gonna quickly go over building your own community network. You know what I mean? So what you need to get started, like Pilani mentioned, like Refilwe mentioned, like Norma mentioned, you need the people, you need the community support, you need volunteers, you need support from your leaders and the government. But most importantly, you need the support of the communities that you are going to be deploying in. And you need to have them on board as a first point of contact. You know what I mean? Pointless to plan if you don't have these people on board first. So onboarding the community, finding out their needs is paramount before you set up your infrastructure. Also, you're going to need a vision for what you're going to be doing with your community network. Why do you need it? Is it for schools, clinics, puzzle shops, like we mentioned, etc.? And the location, the area that you want to cover. Like Pilani mentioned, there are areas within KZN that need dire coverage when it comes down to community networks. And then after that, you need the support of partners. Like Philo mentioned, you need those NGOs, you need the technical groups, you need donors, and you need the government, and you know what I mean, your councillors, your premiers behind this project that you're doing. So again, basic equipment. I know that it sounds like I'm rehashing all the time and going back, but I think this is good for this session to always know to say that you need Wi-Fi routers, you need mesh nodes. Mesh nodes are your access points, they are your radios, your repeaters. You need to address the issue of power. We're in South Africa. Each and every one of these access points must be connected to some form of battery or power or solar panel backup so that when the power is down, your network doesn't go down. Like I mentioned before, for offline content, you do need either a laptop or a server or, you know, a PC that you can build up and put a lot of hard drives and 10 gigabit Ethernet speed at least on it so that it can serve your offline content. And then, of course, you need your backhaul link to LTE fiber or VSAT. So this is me being very, very basic. Of course, there's far more things that you might need if you drill down, but then there are channels like internetsociety.org/learning, ISOC Learning, where you can get access to courses to be able to educate yourself and empower yourself to know the finer details of the technical aspects needed to set up a network. So a little quick step-by-step. First point of departure, access training. Join a chapter. Join an organization that can give you access to training. Create a working group that's going to focus on delivering this. Whether it's a working group, whether it's an NGO, whether it's a private company, just create a structure that you can run this with to make sure that you deploy this network. You need to arrange community engagements. Very, very important. You need to also choose your technology partners and your business partners that you're going to work with in the network. You need to be able to test the backhaul, to test if you're going to be using Wi-Fi, test your line of sight. If you're using fiber, find out about the way leaf permits, find out where you can trench and you can put these things. You need to test, and test so that you make sure that whatever you're going to deploy is going to be easy to sustain and it's going to actually do the job that it's intended to do. Again, testing the backhaul options deals with service providers and how much they're costing you and the speeds that they're offering you to be able to provide internet to your network. And then lastly, it's installing the infrastructure, training your youth and volunteers, and executing the launch and educating the users. I would say this step number 8 of this part of educating the users, you might as well rope it in under community engagement, because leaving it for last, I think it's a bit of a disservice, but I would say educating the users must also go hand in hand with the community engagement, so that way they also know what they're getting when they're supporting this network and it's within their communities. And then point number 9, maintain the network and grow the network from region to region, ward to ward, until we cover our rural areas. So sustainability tips, I would say use prepaid models and micropayments. Get SSIDs there that can pay for advertisement that you, of course, curate and doesn't it's not intrusive or it doesn't go against the values of your communities. Train locals to manage and to repair the equipment that will help you reduce costs, and then partner with schools and NGOs for digital content that we spoke about that can stay on your offline server, and then get political and traditional support early. These are some few sustainability tips you can look into. But I'd say the key takeaways for this is you don't need to wait for big telecoms to come and create a community network for you. Make sure that it's community led, your networks, because when it's community led, the network will last and it will work. And then you need to start small, grow slow so that you don't make a lot of mistakes, costly mistakes, and build it with people from that community. So start small, grow slow, so that you are building a strong foundation and you build it with the people of that community. When it comes down to resources and next steps, I would say the join our chapter. You know what I mean? Join us, Internet Society South Africa chapter. You will meet other professionals and other organizations that we work with. And it's a starting point where you can see all these engagements that take place around the country. And step number 2, start learning. Go to ISOC Learning, start doing the community network courses, the network courses, the digital footprint courses, the encryption and cybersecurity courses, because these are going to come in handy for when you operate your network. And with that said, I'd like to thank each and every one of you for giving me this time to go through this presentation. And I guess we can maybe open the floor for maybe 2 or 3 questions. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Korishang, for giving us the most important things that we need to know about community networks, especially.
Can I share one more thing?
All right.
In my rush to finish, I forgot to share the Jozini network plan for SIA Connecta.
Yeah.
So those of you from Jozini, this might not be clear, but I'll share it with Norma. She can share it with you guys. So parts and elements of it. So this is where they are targeting to have coverage in Jozini. I thought that this is also important to share for the people there. So this is when we say we are deploying in Jozini, these are the areas that are highlighted that we want to make sure that they have coverage. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, we have got a hand in Mkhuze.
Go ahead, Norma. You might be on mute.
Is it for me, Cody?
Yes, you can go ahead. We saw a hand from you.
We lost you a bit. It just went off and started connecting. Someone has a question. Proceed.
Hello, Koti. Okay, mina owami umbuzo ngicela ukubuza la ukuthi uma nikhuluma, okay, ngiyezwa niyakhuluma ukuthi okay senza umndaba ama-network tontolo. Then ngicela ukubuza ukuthi ngoba ningathi ni-close kakhulu nejozini kakhulukazi uma nikhuluma ngendaba zoma-building ama-network. Ngicela ukubuza ukuthi uma sithi mhlampe siyakhona ukuyikhanda ejozini inanzana yakhona. Izokwazi ukukhonektha all over ngoba sihlala ey'ndaweni ey'qhelelene kanje like ama-wards. Izokwazi ukuthi sikwazi ukuyikhonektha ejozini sonke sikwazi ukuyithola noma mhlampe nizohamba niyi-point iy'ndawo ney'ndawo.
No, ngiyabonga for i-question yakho. I-plan ukuthi the entire Jozini i-connect, kungabi nendawo lapho kungena connectivity. So in order ukuthi senze kanjalo kuzosebenziswa ama-radio tower. So amanye ama-signal azoba yi-2.4 gigahertz, amanye azogijima ku-5 gigahertz ukuthi ahambise i-signal, but i-plan ukuthi wonke umphakathi ukwazi ukuconnecta as long usejozini. Yeah.
Kodi, just a quick one. Pilani spoke about the South African Youth Council, which is an apex body for Umkhanyakude, and my candidates here are asking if it's possible for him to actually include them in the database because they're not aware of it. Most probably when these opportunities come through for them, they find them uguti, they are within that organization, if it's possible. Thank you.
Okay, let me stop sharing the screen quickly. I see Pilani's hand is up. Pilani, please,
Yeah.
I think your details are very much needed by the people on site and us here online. So I'll give you the floor. You'll be the last hand we take. And please, I'm humbly requesting that maybe you might put your contact details in the chat. Thank you.
Okay, I don't know if I can come in.
You can.
Okay, no, thanks. No, we will share our detail. We'll share our details with the community, and we'll ensure that the psych leadership in the district is available, so that it can be accessible, because isebenza ney'nhlaka ey'ningi, including your NYDA, your social development, and all other government sister departments. So I think psych will be of great assistance to umphakathi. But-ke isandla sami bengifuna ukusiphakamisela ekuthenini, I will just share a little bit of a background. Historically, in Ejozini and across the district, uTelkom, I will make you example ngama organization angekho la ningibolele. uTelkom wake wazama to actually have a program ukuthi every household in a cell phone, not a cell phone per se, but the landline ending for connection. So that was an intervention to actually connect abantu back in a day. They implemented the project successfully. They erected all the infrastructure across. But now here was the challenge. The very same infrastructure was demolished by abantu abahlalayo endaweni. Remember, the community at large is not homogeneous. So we are at the very same time as we are not homogeneous, we are dominated by, to say, there is a large group of the illiterate people or people who did not have access to education, who are not even interested to learn or follow our workshops like this. So now, the idea, the presentation, the implementation of the project, it's something that is very beautiful, that us as young people in Ejozini, we want. But now we want to check the modalities in terms of the implementation. On your presentation, you spoke of the equipment that must be erected for it. ukuthi ikwazi ukuthi isebenze. And ngokuyibuka leya equipment that might be subjected to demolition by those who doesn't even understand what it is and why is it so important ukuthi sibe nayo, while the other group yabantu abasha would be needing it the most. So I want to then challenge you or perhaps request a clarity over and above conducting workshops and all of that, which in terms of the infrastructure. How are you going to ensure that it's an infrastructure that is appealing ekuthenini ikwazi implement the project successfully? Because presentation, the implementation of the project did not consider the fact that it's implemented with community enabantu abangazi nanokuthi ngokukhuluma ngokuba connected, what do you mean? So I want to check the approach that will be of some nature, bottom to top, where you find exactly what the people need on the ground and you provide solutions that are going to align with the needs and the desires of the people on the ground, that will also going to align with the mindset yabantu ekuhlaleni. Angazi noma I'm complicating this in to our presenter, but that was just my perspective on this. Thank you.
No, thank you very much, Pilani, for that. I think it's a very valid point. Like I mentioned before, the infrastructure needs to be taken care of, and I think also having the youth champions from these communities helps a great deal, because they are the ones that are living in these communities and they are the ones that interact the most with the people that need this education and training. Education, training, and awareness goes hand in hand. And once people realize that this equipment that is being installed in and around Jozini is important for their own livelihood, it's important for them to access economic opportunities, healthcare, and government services, we will find to say that the destruction of this infrastructure will be less. With that said, we're also taking into account by identifying safe areas and safe locations for this infrastructure that's going to be deployed. As you can see on the map that I put up, we are looking at a total of 7 mosques, I think. So we wanted to, yeah, we're looking at a total of 7 mosques around Jozini. So we are looking at coordinating with the local businesses there, churches, schools, and so forth. The ideal places to always install these things are your clinics, your churches, and your schools, and business around business centers where people, congregate and give. So for us, I think as a chapter, we are really going to take to heart what you just mentioned with what Telkom went through. It's always good to learn lessons from other ISPs that have come into the area. And we are going to heavily rely on organizations like yours, Pilani. We're going to rely on the young people of Jozini and the greater KZN to be able to help us when it comes down to awareness and training and going into communities beforehand to let them know what this equipment is going to serve the community with. With that, I don't know, MC, if I can give you a chance to go back to the program.
Yeah, man, it's been one of the most important, yeah, good discussions from the first. Thank you so much, Khorishang, for the 2 presentation. And yeah, we have learned a lot about how we can, set up community networks, and also what are community networks within, the countries, and as well as in South Africa, and how can we play a role as well. Thank you for those who have asked questions, especially Pilane, the guys from Mkhuze as well. So there's a lot that can be learned. And again, it's not just going to be something that's going to be erected without doing some much needed research, and also with the important stakeholders that are needed. So the first 2 sessions were able to help us to understand exactly what needs to go in hand in hand to be able to have the community networks for us. Yeah, so I will call up Sean now, just to give us, policy and regulations of the community networks. And then after that, probably will take a bit 5 minutes, and then we do 2 sessions, and then we close our workshop, because this is all about awareness. Yeah, so it's just we're showing you guys, what community networks are and what type of projects that have been implemented and how we can successfully work together in those ones. Yeah. Thank you, Philani, for sharing the details as well. So important. Yeah, Sean, you can take the floor. Thank you.
Great. Let me see if I can get my screen to display. Okay. And then I hit play. Okay, so I'm going to be really talking about something that's fairly boring. Hopefully you can see my screen.
Yes, we can see the screen.
Okay, and let's go. So we're talking about community networks, and obviously for community network, you need to have a community, which you guys have got together. That's you and your friends. You then have a company that needs to build and manage and fund the network. And Kodishan has given us an overview as to how you're going to do that. The funding part is a little bit unknown at the moment, but there's plans afoot for that as well. There's Connecta and there's Bakwena Telecoms who are going to be involved. Bakwena Telecoms is a ICASA license holder. And essentially, what I'm going to be speaking about this morning is what the license requirements are to run a community network. If you look at ICASA, who's the regulatory body for networking in South Africa, they don't have a category yet for community networks. They've got small networks and large networks, national and regional or municipality-based networks. And so the licenses are specific for those sorts of things. So if you were going to start your own community network, these are the sorts of things that you need to do. So you need connectivity. You have your network. That's the one that you're connected to. And then you've got your provider. That's someone who connects you from your network to the rest of the world. So that's either, you've spoken about telecom, it could be internet solutions, it could be Bakwena Telecoms, somebody who's going to be your upstream that connects your community to the internet. And then we also touched on content. So if you're looking for content, there's software called Internet in a Box. It's free, and it provides you with platforms that run locally on your community network, so you don't have to pay an expensive uplink provider to download videos, Khan Academy, books, those sorts of things that could be located at a school or a church or something like that, and the community can then share resources locally on your own local community network rather than paying for an upstream provider. So let's look at compliance. So you want to build a community network. What do you need? Well, what licenses do you need? You need what's called a Class ECNS license, which is Electronic Communications Network Service License. That allows you to build and operate a physical network. So you saw in the previous picture, we've got 6 or 9 towers with physical radios that are stuck on top of those towers. For you to be able to deploy that in your community, you need to have a license from ICASA to do that. That allows you to physically build and operate that network. For you to sell services or to use services over that network or someone else's network, you need to have another type of license called an ECS license, which is basically a services license that allows you to run email, Gmail, YouTube, web hosting, those sorts of things over the physical networks. So there's 2 licenses that are required. One is the one to build the network, the physical infrastructure, And the second one is to run services over that network or over your own network, over someone else's network. There is a third license if your radios that you're using require specific frequency or spectrum. So you're not using the open frequency, 2.4 gigahertz, 5 gigahertz. You have to buy a frequency license. I'm not really speaking about that today, but so if you wanted a specific frequency, then that's another whole ball game. And obviously that comes with additional costs and expenses. So help, you're now going to buy these things. What are they? So you need to register. There's a process of getting these licenses. They don't just automatically happen. There's a form to fill in and you need to pay for them, unfortunately. So the latest figures I could find from ICASA's website is 13,283 Rand each. So you need to pay that twice, one for the ECNS license and one for the ECS license. Now, Bakwena Telecoms I had a look, they're registered. They are a class ECNS license provider. So they already have these licenses. So to run your network, you're taken care of. And then there's a additional fee if you want to renew them, if you want to amend them, or if you want to transfer them. There's some fees involved in that. But let's assume you're setting up your own network in your own area and you'd like to license. You need to go through the process, pay the fee, and then there's a certain documents you've got to fill in a form that they want your company that's going to run the network. They want your company documents, who's involved in the company, what do you do, where do you do it, how do you do it, who runs it, where are you going to get your funds from. They want a sort of line item on each one of these things as to how this business is going to run, because they don't want to issue a license to you and then you're unable to provide the services. So they want to check that out. They want to know how you're going to roll out your network. That's only applicable if you buy the ECNS license, which is the physical network. And then they want some financial statements as well. And sometimes they require a competition analysis report. So if you're competing with somebody else in the same area, they want to know why they should give you a license when someone else has a license for that area. But if you're building a community network in a community that is not yet established, then that speaks to itself. There are annual license fees involved with these licenses. If you generate, and there's a little asterisk there, which you'd be happy to know about. If you generate less than, the latest figure was about 13 million turnover a year, you don't have to pay the 1.5% of your gross profits. And sometimes you don't have to pay the Universal Service Access Fund fee as well of 0.2% of your total revenue. And there's some deductions you're allowed for maintenance of your equipment and services as well. Compliance, once you have a license, each and every year you need to submit a number of forms, and it depends on what type of license you've got, what forms they require from you. You need to report on your revenue, you need to report on how many calls were logged, how many faults were logged, how quickly you replied them. And then you also need to comply with various regulations that change now and again as to servicing customer protections, POPIA Act, those sorts of things. Because you're operating as a company, you're collecting people's information, and so they want to know what do you do with that and how do you handle complaints. If you want, there's an association called WAPA, which is the Wireless Association, and they provide some basic regulatory support. So they're an industry body, and they will intercede on your behalf with ICASA. So if you get a general query, you forward it to them, they will forward it on to ICASA for all their members and then get feedback. And it's often an easier way to deal with a process than you having to deal with it one-on-one. And that's basically it. There's a list here where you can get all the requirements, the laws, and what's required. You have to write it down. I'll send the presentation around. There is, let's see, jump. There's WAPA, who are a service provider. organization, and they will do, they will, as I said, they will help with your ICASA regulatory requirements. And then there is Ellipsis, which is a legal firm, which will, they're the lawyers of ICASA, not ICASA, they're the lawyers of ISPA, the Internet Service Providers Association, as well as WAPA, and they deal with all the queries and take care of things from that side of things. There we go, that's Ellipsis. And yeah, they make communications between you and ICASA a lot simpler. So if you have these regulatory requirements, they often get the information, they summarize it, and then they put it out in a form that us as non-legal people understand how these things work. That's it. Yeah. I don't know if there's any questions on that. It's relatively quick and may not necessarily apply to you, but is an important part when you run a community network. You do have to have your regulatory ducks in a row for it to be provided. Yeah. There we go.
Thank you, Sean. You want to go first, Sean?
No, please go ahead.
No, thank you, Sean, for your presentation. Especially, we can see there that as much as we want to have community networks, there's also some policy and regulations that we need to follow. And yeah, so much to read on as well with the links that have been shared. Just my question would be probably, how long does the license take, in terms of when you're applying for those licenses, the time frame? Are there any challenges that you face when you're applying for these licenses? And probably they might put you off and say, oh, you know what, now I've done a physical study to see Tuba needs this particular community network, and now I'm facing these challenges of getting the license.
I can say it's got better. They are more efficient. So there's two types of licenses that are available, two categories of license. One is the individual license. That's like if you're a telecom, you want to run services nationally. That just takes forever to get, and there's a sort of hold on that. There's a moratorium. The class licenses are generally quicker, and I can't give you an exact timeline, but it's a couple of months from submitting all your forms. You need to the requirements are you submit 5 paper copies and 1 electronic copy. So you can immediately see it's a lot of paperwork that's involved in this process. If you can, the easiest way to do it is to get someone else to do it for you rather than doing it yourself. So go to Ellipsis. There's a number of other companies that will do this on your behalf. They obviously do charge you for it, but you submit all your paperwork to them. They know what the requirements are. They fulfill all the requirements and they do the chasing up for you. So that's one way of doing it. And you can appeal to say, look, you're a community network, you don't have funding, and can they do this pro bono? And I'm not involved in that, but there are stories of people getting better response and getting support from that perspective. Yeah, it is the government department, so it does take a while. The nice thing about it is your license is valid for 10 years. So once you've got it, you only have to pay the annual maintenance fee for 10 years and make sure that you comply with the sort of requirements of your license. The individual one's got about 13 documents you have to submit a year. So there's a process, but if you join WAPA or ICASA and ISPA, they'll prompt you for these things and send out reminders for you as well. Otherwise, you need someone who's on top of this from a policy administrative point of view to keep things smoothly ticking over. See another hand there, Pilani?
Yes, Pilani.
Hi.
Okay, thank you very much again. Again, thank you very much for your report. Or your presentation rather. We welcome it. I've got just one question, but before that question, I want to take this opportunity to welcome the regional chairperson of SAIC, whom is going to be very of assistant moving forward because I'm not involved. But the question that I want to ask, is it possible to actually obtain, I understand it's community network, but is it possible to obtain an individual license now, together with the infrastructure implementation whatsoever? Is it possible that as an individual, as Mr. Ntlenyama, I source all of your services and even get that individual license so that my home connects better with the world? Thank you.
So you want to connect. The license is only required if you are selling your services into the community or providing services beyond the border of your home. So if you want to run a wireless network in your own property, there's no license requirements. If you want to provide internet connectivity for someone else, not on your property, not in your family, essentially, then you require a license. So it's not just everybody who requires a license. It's only those who are providing a community network. Now, there's no distinction between a community network and a commercial network. There's no category, unfortunately, for community networks, or no less of a regulatory burden for community networks, unfortunately. Kadishana, I saw your hand there. You perhaps can speak as well.
Yes, I think maybe I'll also jump on that question of Pilani and say, maybe from a side of, can I, as a sole proprietor or someone who owns a PTY Ltd, get a license, and I'm the only one on the PTY Ltd, and I get a
You can.
license and I want to operate, meaning to say, I don't want to work in a structure where there's an NGO and other people. Me as Godishang, I want to get a license and then service the community alone.
You can do that, yes. So you fill in the same form. They still want to know. So you're a sole proprietor, so that's your company registration in a sense, but you can do it as a sole proprietor. They want to know where your funding comes from, how you're going to run the network, and basically how you're going to be accountable to your users. So there's the protection of consumers. They're really concerned about you taking their money but not providing their services because you're a service provider. Now, there's no distinction between you as a sole proprietor and you as Vumatel in the area. They see you as the same type of thing. Unfortunately, there's no distinction between a community network, individual network, and an international. So Starlink has the same requirements as you have to come into South Africa. So hence the issue. For the class licenses, there's no BEE requirement. So if you wanted a license to service South Africa, there's BEE requirements, which is why Starlink runs into issues. But if you want to service your municipality, there's no BEE requirements. It's less rigorous than the individual class license. But that doesn't apply to community networks, so I didn't speak about that. All right.
Mondla, I think you're muted on your side.
No, I'm good. I'm good. Yeah,
You're
thank
good.
you. I thought you wanted to ask or continue with the question as well. No, man, thank you so much, Sean, for your presentation as well. And Pilan, you said you wanted to welcome I think someone from is he here on the session?
Yes, yes, the regional chairperson of the South African Youth Council in Umkhanyakude district, colleague Utabang Ndelange. He has joined. Is online, and the regional secretary also is working on joining, even though they are late. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Pilan, for that. Thank you so much, Tabang, for joining as well. Yeah, this is all about what community network can do to us. We have these particular discussions and also to know what is at hand and what we need to do in order for us to connect our communities. Yes, it's not only about us, it's about communities. It's about making sure that everyone has a chance to actually be part of the internet and also start or do their business as well. Mkhuze, community, are you guys good? Do you have any questions as well for Sean?
I think
All
we
right.
have a raised hand from Refilwe.
All right, let's refill it.
Hi, I think my question follows up from the previous question that was asked. I think it's basically clarity on saying, can you as an individual company establish a community network through your company or your private company or your private entity that is already licensed and has got, you know, the different licenses, and you can basically put together a community network where your company will be supporting that network, build, operate, and maintain, and seek for funding for that particular network? And how do you organize yourself as an entity within a community network? Thank you.
From the regulatory perspective, if you already have a licenses are district or municipality specific. So if you've got a license to operate in that district, you can set up your own community network. You can set up your own radio towers and start offering services. So from a regulatory perspective, as long as you have the license, you're free to install the things. Obviously, you need to go to the various places where you put in your high sites or your towers and say, can I put a tower on your premises? But once you have a license, you are able to operate in that area. I think that's one part of the question. I didn't catch the second part about the funding or operate.
So the second part is more because I think in terms of the Competition Act, you are licensed to provide services and compete with other service providers. But as a
Correct.
community operator, I think your services your offerings would be slightly different than in terms of that. How can you structure yourself to fit into a community network in such a way that you do not disadvantage or become, not competitive, unfair competition,
Okay.
basically, with other service providers in the space.
That's a business decision, not a policy decision. But if you price yourself out the market, if you're too expensive, people won't use your services. If you're a community network, right at the beginning, I said, you need to service your community. So what are your community needs? If you're running something like a community network that provides local education facilities for your community, and you're running something like Internet in the Box, where you have there's a thing called the Khan Academy, which has got videos on maths and history and science and chemistry and those sorts of things. You're running that locally on your own server. A commercial network is not going to do that. That's not their interest. Their interest is to provide internet access. As a community, you want to provide for your community needs. So if you're pricing yourself in such a method, in such a way that local access to community resources is at a reduced rate, then your community is going to favor you over and above buying data for their SIM card. And I think that's you need to meet the community needs to be a community network. And so that's where the stakeholder involvement and what Kodishan was speaking about is important. You need to have them on board and supporting you.
Understood. Thank you so much.
Right.
All right, yes. Thank you so much, Refilwe, for that. And thank you, Sean, for some clarity there. Yes, we are, this is community network awareness. We are, just showing you what's already there, and especially although it's not been implemented as much, but the process of implementing it, it's on the way. But as soon as, yes, like we said, all the stakeholders are on board, yeah, we'll see, some positive, result in terms of getting, communities that are not connected to be connected. So now, yeah, so we thought that we'll have a bit of discussion, or no, maybe opening remarks, or any other just sharing about Umkhanyago municipality, those who are hosting us. But at the moment, can I give maybe the opportunity to I think Mr. Tabang to share maybe some of his thoughts, especially from the Youth Council, as he just joined us as well, before we move to the next session.
Thank you, Chair. One should greet all of the attendees in this meeting. Maybe I wouldn't be precise on who's who because I've joined late and I've missed the introduction, but I will just observe all protocol. My name is Tarang Tilange from the South African Youth Council of Mkhanyago district. We are an apex body, as Pilani has shared. We are an organization that is a champion of youth formations. We advocate for what is right for the youth in all sectors. So basically, we operate throughout the district, but also we are a bit limited to some of the challenges, but we work closely with the municipality, the district municipality, especially the youth office in the municipality. So I captured a lot while I was here. I was trying to just blend in, but I have some few questions also, but I wanted the platform, but thank you for giving me the platform as well. The area of Chozini, in the study of the area of Chozini, I think I've been there for quite some time, but also we have leadership from there also, because in our organization, we have leaders in different local municipalities, Chozini, Big Five, Hlabisa, Mtubatuba, and Umhlabya Lingani. So our organization is covered throughout the municipality. So in the Chozini area, we have an higher institution of learning, which is in Mfolo Zitiwe College, Bambanani campus. I'm not sure in the radar that you shared in the screen that is it covered in that area, because it's the Bambanani area. So I'm not sure if it's covered because it's a very rural area and people rely on internet cafes to access this internet. Hence, I was sitting here and I was thinking, oh, this is a great initiative. One needs to be protected in the area, in the scope of demolition, as Pilani has alluded area, because these areas, people don't even know the type of infrastructure that your guys will be bringing. So the awareness, I think, should be more of a physical aspect, because we should commence with the community gatherings, and then we should inform people so that people will be aware that this would save them a lot of money, and it will save them even time also, because you see the applications of these young people rely on the internet coverage. So one is still learning, Chair. Is still learning since I've joined late, but I was just having those notes with me, and I would really wish to extend an invitation to the institution, the campus itself, because you see the campus is formed by learners from different communities. Mostly it targeted the area of Chosin and the neighboring, maybe Mkhuze and Big Five, well as Mtubatuba as well. But people from that campus come from Chosin at most. So when you go to this community engagement, I think we should use that institution as a place where we should gather people, because it's an institution of the community also. So I think it would be a great start if I may propose. So thank you very much for the opportunity. But also, can we, after this, can we get maybe the slides so that I can gather my own presentation to the organization itself, because I'm here to represent them also. So I need to give the feedback of this meeting, although maybe one would be missing some few, but I think by the end of this meeting, one would have packed a lot. Thank you very much. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much, Chair, as well, for the Youth Council. Yeah, we also have other, workshops that we'll be doing, especially. Thank you for the invite. The workshops that you're talking about, it's ISOC clubs, Internet South Africa clubs, where we will also go and introduce the chapter, to those clubs, to those institutions and young people, so that they can be ambassadors and stakeholders of the the internet that is going to be proposed to be implemented there as well. So what we're gonna do now, we're just gonna do a few things, and those few things will be 2 questions for Sean, as two questions for the guys who've presented, and then we'll have a few 2 videos that I need Khorishan to play, just to demonstrate to us some of the successful community networks that have been implemented, and then we will close the session. So yes, Nomalungelo or Mkhuze community.
Thank you so much, Mondli. Mine is not a question per se, but it's just the emphasis of awareness.
Yeah.
I've been in Mkhuze and Jozini a couple of times, and I still feel the need for us as the society, as Connecta, as different stakeholders, as Mr. Tabang said, that we still need to be out there, because it's not everyone that knows, or rather that is informed of how to build the internet, how to promote it, how to defend, how to set up even the smallest information of digital literacy, of even operating a computer or a laptop. It comes in handy, especially in the rural. So mine is to actually affirm the fact that we need so much awareness. And luckily, I have one of my candidates here. He's from Bambanana. Is it Bambanana? Yes. So he's attesting to what Mr. Tabang is saying, and I believe that more awareness and will make a huge difference in what we aim, because really, if we do set up and the community doesn't even know about what we are setting up, it becomes a huge problem, because they need to own the network themselves. So don't make it foreign for them. So yeah, mine is just to attest to that. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Let me just play you one of the
To other villagers that the internet would bring development here.
What
is one of a
community
South Africa
network
has one of
community network implementation as well has changed communities as well. What is more important for us to see as well. All right.
I've also made you a host right now, Mondli, so you've got hosting privileges.
All right, let's see here. Can you see anything, and can you see the presentation?
Yeah, we can see your screen. Minimize your WhatsApp.
Ah. Oh, okay. Let me stop sharing. So I want to share.
You see, Norma, you've got a candidate for your digital literacy stuff.
I knew you were gonna go there. Where is this now? Okay, let me go back. You know, sometimes when we're talking about technology,
Go in just a bit. Moses Godane as well. To set up.
I don't want to share the entire screen, but
Well, Norma, can you go ahead while Mondli is working the
Okay,
sharing
thank you
site?
for the I was just sharing that we had the Moses Kotane Institute in the session for our meeting, but they quickly had to rush for a meeting because they also have programs. I'm not sure if the team is aware about the programs that they're also working on Yama digital literacy. So that could be also a great opportunity to work hand in hand with them. I'm not sure if the South African Youth Council is aware of them as well. But with us, they do come for our sessions every time we do come to Mkhuze, and I believe that partnerships will be formed also with them.
amazing. Yeah. So let's play this and just see what a village, especially in the rural areas, that has built its own Wi-Fi. And then, yeah, we
Of the highest internet penetration rates on the continent. But despite that, people who live in remote places like this say they don't use the internet. Two of the biggest barriers, according to research, affordability and accessibility. 1 gigabyte of data would cost you 7 times more here than it would in Egypt. That's 3 times more expensive than in Kenya, Nigeria, and Ghana. Mkhuze is made up of 12 villages, home to over 6,000 people. And until late last year, there was no electricity here. Running water is still a luxury. But they have a cheap and stable Wi-Fi network. They built and registered their own internet service provider. Mama Sikao is one of the elders who convinced other villagers that the internet would bring development here. She's one of a handful who sell vouchers that gives residents and visitors uncapped Wi-Fi for under $2 a month.
We didn't know anything about Wi-Fi.
And now
Because we're not. It came and connected. Then we see there is something that gives better life. And at school, people doing their homeworks, everything.
one of the biggest barriers is access to devices that support the network.
We are searching for cause of globalizations.
At this local school, students make use of smartphones.
Yeah, it's not the internet alpha.
The internet has helped us here, and we've been able to see how we can use it for research.
So sawubona ukuthi xa
And I think it's important for our village's development.
sinayo siyakwazi usho izinto zethu mhlawumbe zingadevelopha.
So why is Mkhuze Wi-Fi so cheap? 7 years ago, researchers from the University of the Western Cape, with the help of the community, built a mesh network here. A cheap, low-energy system using scattered node devices rather than a central mast that's used by traditional telecoms networks. The name of the network is Zenzeleni. It means do-it-yourself. And 33-year-old Zuko Chichi is the embodiment of that slogan. Previously unemployed and unskilled, is now the resident technician.
Looks like there's a problem with our connection here.
The village built this mast themselves at a fraction of what telecommunications companies quoted.
At the beginning, I thought when this stream came to our village, I thought it's impossible, We can't make a network because we never started a network. It's impossible, And then as we as the time goes, I saw no, this is gonna be real. That's why I put in my effort, trying to learn everything according technically. So yeah, now my dream come true now.
Community networks like this one could be a way to connect Africa to the global village. Driven by the innovation and energy of the youth, the people of Mkhuze say this is just the start for Zenzele.
So we can see the possibility of how community network can bring us together as well, and seeing some of these success stories, also look at how people who thought that they can't actually put a network, learning and also putting up some time, you can be able to actually help your community to connect and move forward. So it takes the whole village for us to actually be part of and parcel of the network and that we want. All right, I see a hand at Mkhuze. Before I ask our two presenters, especially Khodeshang and Sean, one question each, and then if you guys have any questions as well by the end, then we will close the session. And yeah. I see a hand at Mkhuze. Any questions or any comments that you wanted to share?
Hi, Monji. I think it's I didn't raise it down. We're good this side.
All right. Any comments about the video itself? You see, there's a possibility. Yeah.
I have a comment. I
Yeah.
think we should give the floor to Refilwe if she's still here, because she knows the Zenzeleni guys, because they got some of their training from SOAC, and I see she left. So she'll
Oh.
get to see it in the video. So Soweto Wireless User Group also played a hand in training some of the guys from Zenzeleni. But I see Mr. Pilani also has his hand up.
I can come second. It's fine. Thanks.
No, you can go ahead.
You
go ahead,
can go because there's no one.
Okay, no, thanks. I just wanted to make few remarks from that very inspirational video where we see the rural community just like us actually realizing what we refer to as radical economic transformation, because I believe to be connected to the world, it also include our economy. It also include our rural people to the economic system, because it makes life easier. You know, I was touched by that video because there was a dissertation that I was doing last year on rural development planning. And part of my primary data when I was conducting interviews across Umkhanyagut, it did come that we have a huge challenge of connection. So people are unable to actually, even the kids, they are unable to do their homeworks. But from that video, you can see the excitement, the revolution, because I believe the revolution is a complete cycle of the living standard in our communities. So you can see the revolution there, the excitement of the kids being able to access information about globalization. So I think your initiative, colleagues, is really what we need. And that's why we have pledged our support in all ways that we are going to go with you on this journey and ensure that we transform our community. Thanks.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Pilane, for that. Yeah, so it comes a time where I just want to ask these gentlemen who have given us, the overview as well as the importance of what community networks will be like in terms of how we can establish them. So the first question will go to Khodeshang. Just talking about, what can we do in order to build our community network? So in your experience, Mr. Tshwane, what are the most common misconceptions, in terms of community that have about starting their own network? How can we shift those mindsets to build local confidence and grassroots connectivity?
Thank you. Thank you very much for that question, Mondli. Like Mr. Pilani spoke about radical economic transformation and spoke about access to economic opportunities online. Normally, when you start going into communities and talking about community networks, there's this thing that communities think to say that who's going to be benefiting, who's making the money. This thing is from government. It came with millions and millions. And that's where you start seeing communities fight amongst themselves. And instead of focusing on delivering the community network, they are more focused on to say, amongst these guys of SIA Connect, how much money did they get? And this is something that I've seen play out in many, many townships where a community network like SIA Connecta would come, or maybe Date Pilani and their group, they start a community network. But when they go in the communities, they get this thing where the community thinks that they got money from either SA Connect or Broadband in Franco or whoever, and they've got millions and millions. And then you find opposition where the community don't allow them to install, and they say, if you're not going to use our people to trench, you're not coming in here. If you're not working with so and so, you're not coming in here. So I think what people need to look out for when they start community networks is dispelling those things and having some form of transparency. But the only way to go about that is about social inclusion. It's about adding the relevant community people that can actually understand where the finances are going, where the challenges are. But if you don't do that and you fail to show the communities the challenges they are going through and how the money is spent, you're going to find yourself in a situation where the community is thinking that this thing is making billions and billions, and there are maybe 2 or 3 people that are benefiting from it. But I think community engagement, awareness, and having them part of this community network will help anyone who's starting a community network to avoid those pitfalls.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Tswane, for such informative as well as elaborative feedback of what we need to do when it comes to setting up and starting our own community network. Yes, we've spoken about the mindset, because yes, the infrastructure is ours. You saw the community there in the video. They built their own infrastructure and they protected it to bring companies and organizations like SIA Connecta, Internet Society, all the stakeholders. We will see the radical transformation that we need. All right, Mkhuze, I see you have a hand before I ask Sean his question.
Thank you, Monty. I'm not sure if but mine was also to comment on the video that you shared. I can relate so much to that video. I guess I was called for the rural and remote areas because I come from Ghana as well. So seeing that just made me actually see that it is a doable task if we work closely together with the different stakeholders. But it was just inspiring and moving to say.
Norma, your line is a bit bad there, so we couldn't get everything you said.
The one that's in the rural. So it is possible. I'm just saying.
All right.
And we can.
All right, Noma, thank you so much. You can write maybe your thoughts on the chat as well. So this, now, Mr. Sean Courtney, for you, what specific changes would you recommend to South Africa's current regulatory environment to better support, community-owned network in underserved areas. So as you shared about policy and what things are happening and what type of things that are happening within South Africa as well, to set it up, licensing as well. Yeah, that's the question to you.
I think policy change is definitely required. If I look around, we see the barrier to entry is extremely high. You're trying to build a community network, you're trying to get your community connected and online. It's an underserviced area. And as soon as you get everything in place, you now got this hidden expense. It's almost 27,000 Rand just to apply for a license to run these services. As Kodishan explained, people think you're making billions. You're not. You're on very thin margins. To spend 26,000 Rand on hidden costs just to get a license to service an area is not a reasonable request, I don't think. I think there needs to be some changes to the law, particularly to the class licenses, to include a community network. I don't know what the number is, under 1,000, under 2,000, whatever the sort of basic figure is, but under that small number, it should be a minimal application fee and it should be fast-tracked as well. Part of the government's responsibility is to connect unconnected. It's one of their mandates. It's good for the digital economy. It's good for people's livelihoods. It's good for connectivity, for growing, for teaching, for instructing, for reaching out into the community, and really it does help communities to be connected and to be interacting. And so lowering that barrier to entry, I think, is primarily the legislator's responsibility. And perhaps as ISOC South Africa, we need to be lobbying the government to say, look, we need to have a different category for community networks for licensing to enable them to be able to do this with less regulatory burden and pressure. So I look forward to that.
Yeah, looking forward to those policy changes as well. Yeah, there's a lot of talented young people out there who want to showcase their skills in the world. Yeah, without them connecting, without them having access to the much needed, tools, yeah, they get left behind. And the wider the gap, and the more, our societies are becoming ignorant towards the changes and what the world is like, and how people are living in other countries as well. All right, this brings us to the end of such important awareness workshop. This is what was all about, making sure that people understand there's a community network, initiatives that are out there. And also we have shared about, the community that we've identified, especially in Jozini. The discussions are still there. The progress, we're still progressing in terms of, going into the final stage where now, once all things are aligned with the stakeholders, then the network will be, sort of like a vision or something that will be implemented soon. So thank you so much for guys and Mkhuze. Thank you so much for our speakers, Kodishang, Sean. Thank you so much for our attendees online as well, Mr. Pilane, Mr. Tabang from the Youth Council as well, Letitia. We had Refilio, we had More Happy, those who joined us since we started. I think for me, yes, I've learned a lot, especially when it comes to community network, and also just to understand what it takes to actually connect people and what are the barriers, and also what can we do possibly as well. So as Internet Society, South African chapter, we are happy to be part and parcel of such initiatives, and also advocating for safer, more transparent internet for for all South Africans, and also for the people that are in the world as well. And yeah, without it as well, this session would not have been possible. And we see that there's a lot of work to make sure that internet is accessed by others. Last parting words for people on the call, if you have. Yeah, we'll start with Mkhuze.
I'm not sure if we're audible now, are we?
Yes, you're perfect.
Oh, thank you. From me as the lead ambassador, Connecta's chairperson, and an ISOC member. Thank you so much for this initiative. When I started with ISOC, I just started as a person that is, freelancing, but as I go in depth of the society, meeting stakeholders like yourself and Godishan and ISOC as a whole, you guys have made it an amazing sector to be in and work in the internet space. From my side, I'm just grateful that our paths collided and and for deploying me to be here. It's such an honor to represent ISOC, to represent Connecta. And thank you
Right, Norma seems to have a bit of
from my candidates. Anyone to say bye or words of hope, of love?
Yeah.
Anything you have to say? No, I think they shy.
Okay. Right. Let's have Pilani and yes, Pilani. And then Mr.
Okay.
Bang. Then we
Nothing
have...
on our side, Mondli.
All right, thank you. We have
Mondli,
Pilani.
can you hear us now?
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
Mondli?
Yes, we can.
Man.
But you can.
What happened?
Mute yourself. Yes, thank you. Pilani, yes, then Tabang, then we have Sean and Khorishang to close. Yes.
Yeah. No, thank you very much, colleagues. Babu Mondli. Mhlambe nje from our side sifuna ukudlulisa ukubonga kakhulu ukuthi sikwazi ukuthi sibe ne-workshop of this nature within the lens of our forefathers. This is a much needed workshop of some this type. We are just requesting that let us implement this thing at Jozini as a pilot project so that we extend further to other areas and spread throughout. And we are giving you our blessings. I lead the province of the South African Youth Council. We happen to have bilaterals with the Office of the Premier, with the Speaker on the KZN legislature. So these are initiatives and type of rural development that we are looking forward to. So because we've got some sector departments at our disposal, we'll try and see how to squeeze you in so that we share the perspective with the broader community to ease the implementation of the project. But we want to say we welcome this nature of workshop. Siyabonga kakhulu baba. Sibonge nakusiswe noma from eJozini to having to organize those young people ukuthi babe khona lapha bekwazi ukuthi bathole le information. Siyabonga kakhulu baba. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Tabang, then Sean, then Khorishang.
Yes, thank you very much, Chair. To all the people that are here, also thank you very much for affording us the opportunity. Also from the Mkhuze Community Network, I overheard you guys said, do we happen to have knowledge about the Moses Kotana programs? Not as yet, but if you do happen to share a table with, please extend our invites also, so that we can maybe contribute there and there. And I would love to thank you guys for this opportunity. And also, this is a sign of changing lives of people as a whole in communities in terms of connectivity, because that's where the gray area is currently, and we would like to be part of this huge project, and we await for another session to commence. And thank you very much from our side. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chair Tabang. Yes, Mr. Sean.
Thank you, Mr. Mondley. Fantastic that you were able to organize this. Thank you for those folk who've been involved locally, on site, remotely. Thank you for Kodishan for his presentation and yourself for chairing the meeting. I do wish you all the best. I wish you get connected. It would be great to see you guys on the internet and sharing your wisdom and your knowledge, and we can learn from you guys as you join the community of the interwebs. So thank you for the time to listen to us and for listening to our presentations. All the best.
Yes, Kodishan. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you to everybody attending in person in Mkhuze. Thank you to everybody who's attending online. And the conversation is definitely not going to end here. Please, Norma, please collect all the attendees' email addresses so that we put them on the chapter's newsletter. To Tabang and Pilani, we will also be in touch with you so that we can give you information on upcoming events and stakeholder engagements. And also, I'll task it upon Mondli to get you guys introduced to the Moses Kotani guys and Research Institute and the guys from DUT, so that we can also leverage off the KZN academic scene there. So from my side, I'd like to officially thank you from Internet Society South Africa chapter, and I hope that some of you will join us as chapter members. Thank you.
Yes. This brings us to the close. And yeah, you guys have a good time. Network, those who are attending physically, and for those who are online, it's it's goodbye for us, and enjoy your day. And yeah, have a wonderful week. And looking forward to the next session. And yes, please do go to our website, internetsociety.co.za. All the information will be there. And also, we've got a YouTube channel. Some of these workshops will be on our channel again to watch and rewatch and share with others as well. All right. Yeah, Kodishan is sharing some of the things. Yes, this is our website, and yeah, please go to it and yeah, get involved, join the chapter, learn, and also be part of the internet discussions.
Thanks, Mondli.
Thanks,
All right.
Mondley. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Bye, everyone. Chop, chop.
Bye.